I'm Pat Whalen.
And I'm Mike Field. And throughout the history of cinema, nothing can compare with the phenomena of the MCU.
Each episode will tackle one film and discuss the differences between the comic book and what's on screen. We'll explore the growth of the Marvel Cinematic Universe from its inception to present day and beyond. And we'll have a little fun along the way.
We may not have been first or second or even 48th, but we're hoping you'll take the journey with us into the MCU as we are yet another MCU podcast. You can find us on Instagram or wherever you get your podcasts today.
Hey, it's Andrew Morgan, host of the Nomcast, the Netflix original movie podcast. Each week, we review the biggest Netflix original movies with special guests from the film industry, the music industry, comedians, and of course, our fellow podcasters. Check us out on the web at nomcastpod.com. Follow us on the socials at nomcastpod. And most importantly, listen and subscribe to us wherever you get podcasts. Hit that beat one time.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are people here. Shh, you'll scare them. There are exits in the front and rear, not anymore. We've closed them. Shh. When you leave, they're going to leave. They can't leave. They'll play with us. Yes, we need somebody to play with. They'll be our friends. Yes, play with us, yes. They'll be one of us.
That's why your soul. That's why your soul. Well, you want to turn it into that? You want to turn that into this kind of podcast? Let's go. What'd you love about it, Butler? Because I'm going to kill it. We're supposed to assume that you know that she's going to have bloodlust, and you're shocked and angry when she bites you when you have an open wound right in front of her?
You're like, make it, dog, make it, dog.
Hello, I'm Mike Field.
And I'm Mike Butler.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Horror Podcast. Scared yet? Well, you will be. Shut up. Okay. Each episode, we will highlight a horror movie that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. It could be because a scarier, creepier movie was released at the same time. Perhaps audiences were accidentally transported into an alternate universe. Or maybe audiences didn't see enough of the movie through their hands over their eyes because they were scared. You see where we're going with that. We'll break down the movie as well as discuss what we like or don't like about the movie, but we'll always suggest that you bring this movie back from the dead for a revisit. If you're not too afraid of our podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are available. That is my best low, creepy voice. That's all you get. That's all you get. What are we doing this week, Mike?
Oh, we're doing. I can't do their whispering voice.
Whoa. What was that? The things?
I was trying to be the little things.
Interesting.
We're doing. Oh, we're doing. What are we doing? Oh, we're doing. Don't be afraid of the dark.
What's that about?
Well, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark is about a young girl sent to live with her father, and his new girlfriend believes that she has released creatures from a sealed ash pit in the basement of her new home. That is the one sentence description on IMDb, and it is better than the paragraph description, which was awful. So
I like the longer descriptions. That's fine. Don't have to do it.
The longer description really isn't what the movie's about, so I don't like it.
So, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark is rated R, which we'll get into. It's a runtime of 99 minutes, production budget of $25 million. Its opening weekend, it did $8.5 million, domestic $24 million, and worldwide $38 million. So
probably broke even.
Not so good. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? I mean, I don't know how it did on VOD or DVD or HBO, that stuff. It was released on August 26th, 2011. Its production company was Necropia and Gran Via, and it was distributed by Film District. It says Film District in Miramax Films, but this film was being put together right during the Disney sale of Miramax Films after, Weinstein got into some much deserved trouble. And they had to shuffle Miramax out. And this is one of the movies, and Film District picked it up and distributed it. So like I said, it came out on the 26th and the same day as Columbiana and Our Idiot Brother. I think I saw Our Idiot Brother, but I do not remember it.
I didn't see either of those movies. I know what they are, but I didn't see them.
Really? Mm-hmm. The Wednesday after, you had The Debt, which was I believe the one where they go after the Nazi war criminal, I think. Is that The Debt? Or they're going to kill somebody? I don't know. And then you had the week after, which was the 2nd of September, you had Apollo 18 and Shark Night 3D. Now I put those in there because those are kind of like horror movies, and since this is a horror movie, I wanted to try to put some horror movies in there.
I remember kind of liking Apollo 18. I remember it being very short, so
That
it didn't
was-
overstay its welcome.
That was like a documentary, right? Like kind of
Some of it,
lost
yeah,
footage or
because they
something?
wanted to find out. They found out the Soviets got to the moon at some point in between the Apollo missions. So this is the true last mission to figure out why they haven't seen any activity on that base, or
right.
what happened to that shuttle, because they never saw anything come back.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just a horror movie.
You watched it with me.
Did I?
Yeah.
Apollo 18?
Yeah, we watched it one night because it was only like
I don't
80 minutes. so
man,
we
I
just
don't think I
watched it.
did. Dude, I don't think I did. That wasn't me. You're
Oh,
okay.
maybe it was canon.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
That's
I take a little offense to
you're
the fact you think it's
you're both
mayhem.
really tall.
That doesn't mean that's where the difference is. I mean, excuse me, that's where the similarities end.
You're both white. We wear glasses, and you.
I don't wear glasses all the time,
wear
just when I have to
Mets
read stuff off the monitor here. So the week before this movie, which is August 19th, you had Spy Kids 4D, All the Time in the World. I'm sorry, it's not good. The Fright Night 2011, which we did last year for Forgotten Horror.
Yeah.
It's interesting that we got to the same time period here. Conan the Barbarian and One Day. And then I wanted to put another horror movie in there, which came out the August 12th, which was Final Destination 5. Because when you have a horror movie like this, like Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, it's not only competing with the movies that come out either the same day or the week after, week before, it's also competing with the more recent horror movie that's out.
Right. Was Final Destination 5 the one with the tanning booth?
Oh man, is that the one where they're on the bridge at the beginning? Is that 5? And then it ends in the movie theater? I don't know. I know first one is obviously the original, the plane. The second one is what is the second one? How did they die in the second one?
The third one's the highway, right?
No, the third one is the carnival.
Right. Yep.
So then either the fifth one's the highway or the second one's the highway. The second one's the highway
second
because the
one's got it,
fifth
yeah.
one is the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're probably wrong, but
I feel like we had the same conversation when we did Fright Night.
that's fine. That's fine. Everyone likes the repeats. Directed by Troy Nixey. He is a comic book artist, actually. So this is actually the only movie he did, only feature he did. He's written, or he's drawn, I guess is more accurate, Harley Quinn. He did the Matrix comics, and Neil Gaiman's Only the End of the World Again. Only the End of the World Again, excuse me. He got this movie because he sent his short Latchkey's Lament to Guillermo Del Toro to just kind of look for feedback. And Del Toro came back and said, like, hey, you want to direct this movie? So I thought that was pretty cool.
That's good feedback.
And obviously, this movie is written by Guillermo Del Toro and Matthew Robbins. Del Toro, obviously, you probably know him from all the other movies that he's done. In terms of more recently, The Shape of Water, which he won the Oscar for. He actually won the Oscar for Best Picture and Best Director. He was nominated for that movie for script, and he also nominated for script and foreign language film for Pan's Labyrinth. Well renowned, everyone knows him. He's also written Mimic, The Devil's Backbone, Crimson Peak, just to kind of give you a couple other things. He wrote this with Matthew Robbins. Matthew Robbins, Mr. Butler, wrote The Sugarland Express.
Oh, yeah.
Which is another episode we did.
Season 3.
Yes. He's also did Batteries Not Included and Dragon Slayer, which is an 80s film, which, I mean, you could make a case to put this on our list. This is based on the 1973 teleplay written by Nigel McKean. It was a ABC TV movie. He's worked primarily in TV. He did the TV show Family and Bright Promises. These are TV shows from back in the 80s and 70s. Cinematography by Oliver Stapleton. He has worked on The Grifters, The Cider House Rules, and The Comedian, to name a few. Composer Marco Beltrami, who was nominated for an Oscar for The Hurt Locker and 310 to Yuma, another episode we did.
Yeah.
And the 310 to Yuma, not Hurt Locker. And he also did more recently Ford vs. Ferrari. And then Buck Sanders is also given a credit here, but he is Beltrami's right-hand man. He does everything with him. So
Beltrami also did a lot of Del Toro stuff, I noticed. Mimic.
Yeah.
Blade 2, Hellboy.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, wow, he's been with him for a long time.
Yep.
I like Beltrami. I don't think he gets grouped into the big time guys a lot. I think he's usually like, no, he's not really a name.
Who are the big time guys?
Well, like Williams, Seton Howard.
Right. Hans Zimmer.
Like Hans Zimmer, like people like that. But I think he's pretty prolific.
Yeah.
And his scores usually are pretty good. Like the T3, I said in the last episode, a couple episodes ago, isn't necessarily the best Terminator movie, but the score he did for that movie is one of my favorite soundtracks.
Nice.
It's very, very good.
Edited by Jill Bilcock. She was nominated for an Oscar for Moulin Rouge. She also did Muriel's Wedding and Strictly Ballroom. If you've never heard of Muriel's Wedding, you should check it out. It's pretty funny. It's pretty good. It's with Toni Collette. It's an Australian film, and it's a movie that kind of put her on the map, so to say. And a lot of these, there's a lot of the people in this movie and a lot of the people behind the scenes of this movie are Australian talent, and that's because this movie was shot in Australia. So that's probably why you have a lot of these people that are working on this movie. Obviously produced by Guillermo Del Toro, and you already know his movies, and then Mark Johnson. And Mark Johnson has produced movies like Bugsy, which was nominated for an Oscar, and he actually won an Oscar for Rain Man. He also was one of the producers on the Breaking Bad TV show, which I think I like. There's not a big cast. You have Guy Pearce as Alex. Mr. Pearce is from Memento, LA Confidential, Animal Kingdom, which is an Australian film, and Lockout. I put Lockout in there because me and Mike both love him in Lockout. And that character in Lockout needs his own movie. We're just going to throw that out there. Katie Holmes as Kim. A lot of people know Katie Holmes as the TV show Dawson's Creek when she first started, but she's also in Batman Begins, and she's in Pieces of April, amongst others. Bailey Madison as Sally, the young girl in the movie. She is in the TV show Good Witch. She was in the movie Just Go With It and The Strangers Pray at Night. Not a lot since this movie, but hey, maybe she's just hitting her stride. Jack Thompson as Harris. Now he's in Star Wars Episode 2: Attack of the Clones. Mike, did you know that?
I did not know.
Yeah,
that.
I was going to write down the name of the character.
Oh wait, yes, because he's
some name character.
He's something Lars. He's the Owens. Uncle Owen's father.
Okay, there you go.
Krieg Lars. Yeah, nerd credit.
He's also in Australia in The Great Gatsby. You might have guessed he's an Australian actor. And then you have Julia Blake as Mrs. Underhill. She's also an Australian actor. She is in X-Men Origins Wolverine and Aquamarine. And then I had a couple credits here for Gary McDonald as Blackwood. He was in Moulin Rouge and Robert Proof Fence. And then Alan Dale as Charles Jacoby. Yeah, Jacoby. Mm-hmm. He's in the TV show Laws. He plays Widmore. And he's in the TV show Dynasty, and he's also in Captain America: Winter Soldier. So I wanted to kind of toss that in there. And now I've talked enough, Mike. Do you have any kind of facts you want to toss out there? Or I mean, I can go with more facts. I got some more facts.
Or we're just doing facts?
Well, I mean,
I have stuff like the pepper in, like stuff facts
later
about
on.
The original and stuff like that.
All right, so
I will say that Jack Thompson, his beard, very fake.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't even catch that.
I paused it. I'm like,
I didn't even catch that.
That's not real.
He couldn't grow a beard?
Or maybe he just they wanted it. I think you'd look really good with a beard.
Maybe. Yeah. We don't have time.
Left in the budget? Yeah. Okay. Slap one on.
So the initial release date for this movie was January 21st, 2011, but it was pushed back to August because of the sale of Miramax. So
I read that.
Yes.
I don't think either are good dates.
No, it's not. It's not a summer movie. The end of the summer is not really summer. It's just kind of put it in there.
Exactly.
And we'll say it's a summer movie. January is obviously a time where because you don't know what to do with the movie. This is probably more of a this is first off. This movie's not rated R. I don't understand why it's rated R.
I'll tell you why it's rated R.
Go ahead.
I'll do that fact. So they put it through the review board. They were hoping to make a PG-13 movie. Everything you see in this movie is very PG-13. Even when Harris gets attacked and bloodied up, nothing's too gory.
Yeah.
But when it came back from the review board, they got a rated R rating from the MPAA for violence and tension. Terror, rather. And they asked, is there anything we can do to make this a PG-13 movie? And they actually just told them, why ruin a perfectly good scary movie? It's basically rated R because it's just scary.
That's ridiculous. Because I've seen much scarier films that are PG-13, like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Like that's and Del Toro produced that as well.
And
wrote one of them or wrote part of it. He didn't direct it.
It's just story. It's just he's got story by credit.
Yeah. Why we're in a perfectly good scary movie? You've already put this movie in a pigeonhole because it's rated R, so you're not going to attract a YA crowd. This is a YA story, young adult, and you're already losing a bulk of your money now because you're not going to get teenagers to come see this movie. So MPAA, you screwed them.
Basically,
you screwed Del Toro over because this is a movie that even if it's. And I have obviously there's things we'll talk about within the movie in terms of the story and what I like and didn't like it. But regardless of that, this is a movie that if it's PG-13, this is a movie that every teenager kid is teenager is going to because it's like, oh, let's go see that. That's the movie and I can see it.
The whole movie, it is creepy, but it's really just a dark fairy tale.
Yeah.
There's nothing really overly creepy. And I'm wondering, was Crimson Peak rated R?
I think so.
I'm looking it up now because Crimson Peak was very similar in tone. It was also rated R.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why you're giving rated R for terror, but Crimson Peak has some blood in that. There's some violence in that in the beginning and the end.
It's the bloody snow and stuff like that.
Yeah, but there's others. There's some. He gets caught in the machine, doesn't he? Yeah. No, there's nothing in here that couldn't. And even if there wasn't, there couldn't be one. I'm looking at it. Okay, well, there's no one really swearing. So if you're talking like maybe you have to cut a couple frames out of a scene where someone gets hurt or something like that, or the teeth scene, or maybe he knocks out the teeth of the.
Yeah, but that it cuts. So
Yeah, exactly.
unless it's the scraping on the teeth,
Which is cringy. Yeah, I don't know. It's you're already putting this movie in a hole when you do that, and
right.
so that was unfortunate. And I mean, I guess maybe they thought, well, it'll do well, it'll be okay, we'll be okay, we can survive the R rating. You didn't.
Well,
I think that
is,
hurts them.
If that was why they rated, like, what they didn't use that in their marketing campaign.
True.
If that was the case, then I'd be like, well, I mean, that's something we can use. Let's use that
Right.
to push this movie, and they didn't.
Right.
They advertised it like it was a PG-13. Because when I was watching it, I didn't remember it being rated R. I was pretty sure it was PG-13. And I looked it up after. I'm like, what?
What's funny is I'm watching it, and about an hour in, and then I had already looked at the IMDb page where it said it was rated R, and as I'm watching, I'm going. I started doubting that. And I was like, this is not rated R. I went back and looked again. I was like, no, it's rated R. I don't know what I'm thinking. All right. So you recommended this movie. Well, you picked this movie.
Right.
And I'm curious because I gotta be honest, I don't remember this movie, and I never saw this movie. So this was my first time watching it. So these are kind of like first time impressions, which always change if I watch it again or what have you.
Right.
But this was your second time watching?
This is my second time watching it fully.
Okay. So you've seen parts of it.
I watched
right.
like the end a couple of times when we were working at the theater.
Right. And for those who, if you want to watch this, it's actually it was on Netflix in August when you're listening to this. I would assume it's still
I
there.
think it's going to be still on.
So you can still catch this if you want to watch it. It's only an hour. Oh, like I said, 99 minutes. So it's only like an hour 40.
Yeah.
What was your, did anything change for you? Let's put it that way.
I still really like this movie.
Right.
I really, really like this movie. And I'm surprised it's not very well reviewed.
I'm not surprised at that, Mike.
Of course you're not surprised because we've already talked about this, Mike. You hate everything I put on.
Okay. First of all, check your ego at the door. All right.
No, there is no ego
right,
because you crush it before.
I don't
we get
crush
in the
it.
door.
Listen.
As soon as we get to record, I'm like, that's why I don't even ask you what you thought of the movies before we podcast.
Oh my goodness. My goodness. So you have, oh my God. All right, fine.
But
let's go. Fine. You want to turn it into that? You want to turn that into this kind of podcast? Let's go.
No,
What'd you love about it, Butler? Because I'm going to kill it.
I don't even remember what the question was you asked me.
Who cares?
So, I mean, the difference between, I think, this time watching it and the first time is I found it a little less creepy the second time. And that might have been the lack of the theater atmosphere.
Sure. Okay.
Because now I'm watching it in my living room. It's not a completely dark theater. And when I watched the first time, I watched like the 5 o'clock show. And my girlfriend had just gotten out of work and I had just gotten off my shift at the theater. So we went in. It was one other guy in the front row.
Yeah.
So it was an empty theater showing this movie. So it was pretty creepy. It was back in the dark.
You're also watching this movie now with your computer out taking notes. And
right.
I get it.
Knowing what happens in the story.
I understand that.
So from then you didn't know what was going to happen. Yeah. But it shaded that. But I'm watching it this time more for now. I'm appreciating the aesthetic, the set work, seeing the Guillermo Del Toro-ness of the set. It looks very much like Crimson Peak. A little bit of Shape of Water, although Shape of Water is a different setting. But I was getting big time Crimson Peak vibes. Like that's just him or Pan's Labyrinth. Those kind of like set the look and the lighting and stuff like that.
Right.
It's very clean fairy tale.
Well, the basement's a nice set. The basement's a nice set. Even the front foyer is a nice set.
I love the foyer.
The rooms, like they're all like the set design is not a problem. I don't have a problem with that. My problem's story. My problem's always story, Butler. It's always story. And you shake your head like I'm not supposed to have that problem.
No,
I'm being told a story.
You can absolutely have whatever problems you want.
Well, what do you like? Come on. I
enjoy the quickness of the story, the speed of the story.
Okay.
I enjoy the setup of the creatures. It just happens later, and it's just this mix of fairy tales. And I really enjoy the creatures being these evil things, these little just bastards.
The fairies. They're supposed to be fairies that
I think it's just a very simple story. I think the use of the creatures is very good until it's not.
Like what part?
I don't think I like the creatures as much this time. I like the look of them, the way they're designed.
Right.
But I think, and maybe it's that over time the CG just doesn't hold up. I wrote in my notes that I think it would have been more impactful and maybe more creepy if we got a couple of animatronic.
Oh, you wanted more. Creatures. You want more tangible.
I want tactile.
Right.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
Maybe when she splats one of them and the arm falls on the ground.
Right.
that maybe was a real like puppet arm. But other than that, you get no puppetry. You get no
Yeah, I got
feeling
you.
that these creatures are real in the world. And when I watched it the first time, there's this build up to the reveal. But I think knowing what they looked like and then watching them going like,
Yeah, I got
it wasn't
you.
as powerful this time.
The whole idea with the creatures where they every time they awaken, right? Is that they're supposed to every time they awaken?
It was they need to eat every few hundred years.
Okay.
But it didn't give them a time period of like when they specifically will awaken.
Okay. So they need to eat, and then they also need to take one person to replenish their ranks. Is that correct?
They eat that person and it replenishes their ranks. Like they start to die off if they don't eat a person. It's both food. They eat teeth and bone, but the people that they eat replenish their ranks. So my guess is like it's a soul kind of thing based on what you see at the end with the Katie Holmes.
Oh, they become
voiceover.
one of them.
Yeah, I think that's why they have multiple voices.
Ah, okay. Because I didn't get that. Because I didn't get the because if they only take one, I was wondering why they took Blackwood and their son. Why did they take two people that time?
Yeah, so I think they took the kid to basically eat, and they took Blackwood as the sacrifice
To eat.
Right, to eat to replenish their ranks. And the kid was more like for teeth and bones and stuff like that.
So even if they eat them, they don't. It's their decision to turn them into one of them.
Or maybe they took both, and
That's what I'm at.
Maybe they got double the
Yeah.
the
All right.
fun.
Well, that was a little. That was a little. That threw me a little. That's not a big thing for me. There's a couple things they throw in here that, like Kim references, and Kim's the Katie Holmes character.
Mhm.
She references that that she had a bad childhood.
Right.
And I was like, okay, so what does that mean? Where does that? Why are we? And I assumed because I thought it was real crappy that Kim's the one that gets taken.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a heartbreaking kind of ending.
Because she's the only one that kind of believes Sally.
right.
Even towards the end, it took a long time for her father Alex to come around.
I mean, he had to be attacked by the creature.
Yeah,
to come around.
and so Kim being taken felt really crummy. I just didn't like it. I was just like,
Okay.
come on. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, the bad childhood line where she drops that line when she's fighting with Alex, well, because I had a bad childhood, I would understand that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I thought, okay, so maybe that's something that was a remnant of an old script point where it's supposed to give us a reasoning for her to sacrifice her life for Sally. I don't buy it that it's just because she wants wants her to like her, but she's the stepmom or soon to be stepmom of Sally. You don't get an idea of why the mother has dumped Sally because she's so depressed over the divorce.
I get the feeling when you listen to the mom talk, it's
Well,
always like she's always like at a party.
Well, the mom's not talking. Mom clearly is not paying attention because she's crying on the phone
right.
and she's just blowing her off.
You hear stuff in the background. So
Yeah.
I think mom's a socialite in Los Angeles
Right.
who can't be bothered with having a daughter.
Right. But this is what I'm saying. We're making those assumptions and we're making those allusions to that, but we don't
Right.
know. We're not. There's stuff in here that I think maybe didn't survive drafts, and I just needed more for me to buy into Kim dying, buy into the mother dumping Sally on her father. That's all in that regard. In terms of that storytelling, there was a little bit more I needed. The whole idea of Mr. Harris. He knows the secret, but we never know what it is. And
That's the one thing I would have liked more of,
Right.
because from what you see is Blackwood gets taken. What happened after that? You get no history of the house
right,
post Blackwood. You
right.
get this whole build up to why Blackwood went crazy, what Blackwood found, his obsession with fairies, but you don't get anything after he was taken.
And
How Harris
What year
fits
was that?
into it.
'Cause it didn't say, right?
Didn't say, but it looks like it's
1800s?
1800s, early 1900s, if anything. It's been probably 100 years at least.
Okay, so this would be the second time that these creatures come up, right? Is that what we're saying? Right.
That
like-
we know of.
yeah.
Harris has met them because
Exactly.
the creatures know and talk to Harris, and Harris talks to them like they have a familiarity.
I don't get.
So
yeah.
he must have visited when his grandfather was a caretaker. They still spoke to Harris, but Harris was never dumb enough to release him, or maybe he was.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
That's the one thing I know is I would have liked to see more of that, because at least that fit in with the creatures.
Mhm.
Kim's backstory, maybe a little bit more elaboration, but I didn't need too much, and I didn't really need much of Sally's mom.
I'm not saying I need.
They were
to.
both deadbeat parents for the most part.
Well, not him.
Maybe Alex was a little bit better, but he's still preoccupied with his career.
Well, here's the other thing about again going to my point of not enough. Maybe it's just not enough backstory, not enough information. he talks about how like his career, he needs this to bring his career back, to get his career back. What the hell happened? Like you're just, all I know from what I'm seeing on screen and what I'm hearing is that you renovate houses. You're trying to get this house on the front of Architectural Digest.
Right.
And that's it. That's all I know. But I don't understand like how you got to a point where you have been failing. Your career has gone into the crapper. I don't understand.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
I just need more.
Or maybe less. Maybe you just don't need to know his career is in crapper, because that doesn't really affect anything. His career could be great, but you have one bad thing.
Right. That maybe don't throw that in there. Yeah. Right. All right. Do you like Katie Holmes as an actress?
No.
Ooh. Okay.
I
go
think
ahead.
she's very cute. I think she's very sweet. I really like her in this movie, and I think it kind of works in this movie, but I find her acting kind of stilted in a way.
Well,
maybe that's just what she goes for and it works. But
well, there were moments in the movie where when she's at the koi pond and she's talking to Sally, I felt a little. I didn't, whether it's chemistry or whether maybe it was an off day. I didn't understand the choices.
Right.
Let's put it that way. I don't think she's bad. Obviously, she's clearly got talent. She wouldn't be where she is. I think maybe there's things that certain actors can do certain things and certain actors can't do certain things. Certain actors need guidance more than others.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we watched her in Go, and
that is true. She's really good
in Go, and she's
really good
right.
in Dawson's Creek too.
Yeah.
But that's kind of that plays. I think her character in Dawson's Creek really plays to her strength. She was Joey was her name in Dawson's Creek. Right?
Yes.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Knock it off. You've seen it.
I said it's been a while since I've
okay.
seen it. Like I think that character Joey kind of played to her strengths.
Right.
And I think this is a different kind of film for her, where she's kind of forced into maybe finally being it's a more adult role than she had before.
Well, she did. When was Batman Begins? I wrote it.
It was about 5-6 years before this.
Yeah, it's not a good.
That's not a well written role, because even Maggie
True.
Gyllenhaal replaced Katie Holmes, but she didn't do much of a better job because Rachel's character was just there to have someone for Bruce to pine over.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, there are parts in this where I really like her, but there's other parts where But I do like her relationship with Sally and how it builds.
I like how she's trying to create a bond with her.
Right.
And you never really get a sense of you get an idea that Sally's meant to stay with her father for forever. The mother doesn't want to have custody of her or whatever.
Right.
And
which is real shitty. Wait, your mother didn't tell you?
Yeah. But no, I do appreciate that stuff. I say, listen, some people have bad days at the office. It's fine. I get it. I just there was some stuff in here that just made me kind of cock my head and be like, I don't know about that one. But
I wouldn't
whatever.
mind expanding on the story a little bit. My only issue with that would be you create a longer film.
Sure.
And while the visual style of this film is really interesting, and maybe I could watch it a little longer, when you're watching a horror movie, you want to keep it kind of tight for that tenseness. But the creatures being so kind of creepy before they reveal, you might have been able to increase that tension before you reveal the creatures.
I will say this too, going back to the Katie Holmes stuff, is every actor, and you know this, Mike, every actor's not going to get every single take right. You're gonna
right.
Sometimes you have to discover. So even as much as you rehearse, sometimes you have to discover what the real way to do it is, the real line reading, the real emotion. Right. You have to find it.
When we talked about in Sugarland Express, how one of the two actors took 2 takes and the other one would take 5 or 6. That was okay.
Goldie Hawn needed more takes to get into it more. So, and then William Atherton was always ready to go because he was more of a stage actor, and he kind of, and so Spielberg had to find the sweet spot between like takes 3 and 4 where they both were on, or he would do cuts ones and back and forth. Yeah,
right.
No, absolutely. But to my point, an actor, they may not like to admit it, they need a strong director to protect them from those mistakes in terms of putting it on screen. So like you're trusting, if we're just doing it, you're the actor, I'm the director, you're trusting me to put forth your best performance on screen. And that's an issue. That's a trust. There's a trust there. And then that's why you see sometimes actors who work with the same directors and there's working relationships that work well because they know that they're going to be in good hands.
Right.
When in this movie, you have somebody who's never directed a feature like this, Troy Nixey, and it's his first big movie. So it's hard to kind of toss. There's no blame, but just kind of toss what we're talking about in terms of the performances at the actor's feet here, because the director is somebody who is there to make sure that those performances, that the best takes are on screen.
Mhm.
So you can't. So when we've said this before, you can't ever, when you see something in a movie and you see somebody that's not performing well, it is not always their fault. It is absolutely not always their fault. It's a group effort. Even when it's fantastic, it's a group effort. I'm not going to repeat them, but I know stories of people that can't do it, and their performances are cut to be great because the director is able to figure out, and the editors are able to figure out, okay, let's just put something together that makes them look awesome, and it's done. And you don't know. I'm not going to say what, but you don't know. So it works both ways. I guess I'll get off the soapbox there.
I agree. I always hate it when, this is just me as an actor. I don't usually try to ask a lot of questions about my performance because I figure, like we talked about, that's my job.
Yeah.
So I go in and I do my takes, and if they give me notes afterward, then we work it out.
Yeah.
But what I hate as an actor is, and this maybe just is me, if I take a take and then I don't get notes afterward,
Yeah.
and it's like the director goes, no, you don't get. If I don't give you notes, it's great. I get nervous. I get real nervous when I don't get notes. So so me as an actor, I do depend on that director giving me like thumbs up, thumbs down. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
Was it good? What do you want from me?
Yeah.
And if you don't get anything, then yes, you start a take. Especially like a film like this, scene 1 is halfway through the movie, and then you go back to the beginning, then you get back to the end. Now you're stuck with whatever you created, and if it's not strong, well.
Sure. And you've been on the other side of that with me, where I'll try to give you some kind of positive reinforcement, but a lot of times I'm looking at something else. Right. Or if I know you're doing your part well, I'll say
the director's got a lot of other things to worry about.
I'll say like you're fine. I'm focusing on this. And sometimes I don't know if I've done it with you, but sometimes I'll walk up and be like, I really don't know what I'm looking for right now. Like, I don't know. It's not, whatever it is, it's not working. And you know what I mean? Like whatever the line read is, or whatever we're doing, whatever the movement is, like this, it's just something's off, and I have to figure it out. And I have to, let's just run it through again. I need to figure it out. And a lot of times I'll be sitting there staring, and people will be like, what's up? Like, I'm trying to think of what's going on. Just like, give me 5 minutes. Like, so like, you know, like it's definitely, it's not as, I mean, I know we're saying something everyone probably already knows. It's not as easy as it looks. So we get that. But back to the show.
I think in terms of that with directors, like a first-time director, not only, you know, you're also doing a horror film. You've got a lot of effects that you're doing. I get it that he was a Latchkey's Lament was a CGI film.
Short, yeah.
Took him 5 years to complete.
Yep.
By himself, which is impressive. But now you're dealing with CGI on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
And you're dealing with Guillermo Del Toro. You're dealing with Katie Holmes. You're dealing with Guy Pearce. And you've got a child actor as your main star.
And you only get them for 4 hours of the day or something like that. Yeah.
Their parents have to be on set.
Yeah, they got a tutor. Yep.
It's tough.
Yep.
And, you know, there's the two things you don't want to work with ever as a director are kids and animals.
Yep.
And
well, I mean, honestly though, but that does that really matter anymore with the animal part, because you could just CGI the animals, so it's just really just kids now. Yeah.
Did you know that most dogs have CGI tails in movies, even if it's a real dog?
Of course,
because they can't stop wagging their tail. Because if they're doing the thing they're supposed to, they're happy that they're doing it. So they have to CGI the tail.
Nice. That seems a little bit too much. Come on now. All right, so now I'm going to get into the portion where I'm going to ask you, how do you think this is okay? And you're going to say like, well, whatever. The lights go out, and then we see Kim flipping light switches. You know the lights went out. What are you doing?
When? What?
When the lights go out at the end.
Oh, at the very
and
end?
she's like, ching, 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 ching. What are you doing? The lights are out.
That's
They're out.
classic horror movie.
Is it a classic horror movie that a Polaroid, which has 10 flash bulbs, is able to go off 40 times?
I was going to ask you. I don't have really
10.
It's 10?
Yeah,
okay.
It's 10. She would have to take it out and put a new one in.
Well, I didn't know about the flash bulbs. I just figured that just keeps going off. But
Yeah.
like in terms of how many photographs.
Well, I think like 24, like the
Is
same.
it really that much?
You know what? Maybe not with Polaroids. Maybe it's like 10 to 15. It's because they're thicker.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, I know.
She's already printed out.
It's the
ready to go.
infinite. It's the infinite Polaroid camera. Yeah.
I'm like, what the? How many photos is she taking?
So she's trying to take photos of the creatures, or she's using. I'm sorry. They're having a dinner party, and to make her comfortable, she's given the Polaroid camera so that she can, because the creatures don't like flash or light. So she's using the stuff to like just take pictures, but she keeps seeing them, and she gets a photo of one of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then she proceeds to just kind of sit on it. Like, take it to your dad. take it immediately to your father and be like,
Well, she did. She said, "Look, I got a photo," and he goes, "Not now," because he just had the argument with Katie Holmes.
So show somebody.
She doesn't even want to show anybody.
Yeah,
That's like a little kid thing.
What about the arm? You talked about the arm.
Mm-hmm.
They come into the room.
I don't like that. I don't have any excuse for that.
Show the arm. Like
Yeah.
she clearly
I
didn't.
squished one, Dad.
She clearly didn't rip down the picture off the wall because she can't reach it. That falls down
I
and
think
she's in the
that's why
library.
at that point, Guy Pearce is like, something's going on.
Right.
But at the same time, when I was thinking, because I thought that the first time I watched it was, there's an arm right there.
Yeah.
This time I'm watching, I go, well, maybe, I mean, she's pretty much catatonic at this point.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe she just can't do it. I did like at the dinner party, which I didn't really pay attention to the first time I watched it. The rich people there from Architectural Digest and everything, I like that they're not douchey snobs.
Right.
You know, they don't poo-poo the little girl being there at all. And when she's in trouble in the room, they're actively trying to help get her out.
Yeah.
And they're not like, well, she ruined the party.
Yeah.
They're like, I think it might be time to go. I think you're right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a bit cliched.
Exactly. So I was
people
happy
that-
they didn't do
Rich
sleazy
people that don't like kids. That's really cliched.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a time and a place for your child. Yeah.
upstairs or with that tutor.
Well, let's talk about Mrs. Underhill because she is the most oblivious nanny / housekeeper I've ever seen. They have a huge fight. There's a giant fight in the dinner scene. Not that big dinner scene, but when Kim and Alex and Sally are fighting, Sally runs off and because Alex yells at her, and then Kim's like, did that ever really work when you were a child? Oh,
Yeah.
and she runs off. That's not what I'm saying. And then Underhill comes in like, apple pie. Like she just hands like,
apple pie. She taps him on the shoulder
Yeah.
like the apple pie is supposed to make you feel better.
did you not just see the blow up that happened,
Well,
woman?
clearly she's a maid from 1952, so she's just got her preset
And
line.
and the other thing is, so this is
No,
before
the other thing is that pie looks delicious. Do you see how much
Okay.
apple was in that pie?
a lot before the big dinner scene, and there's a scene where she has a bath. She has a bath, and this is after she's clearly upset. I'm talking about Sally now. Is upset. She's had a creature incident. They've attacked her. They were in her room, and she's going to take a bath. Why are you in this house anymore? Why are you absolutely okay with taking a bath, regardless of that?
Well, what's she gonna do? She's a little girl.
Okay, but
Or
she's like,
neither of the parents
listen,
believe her yet.
Listen, that's fine. That's not
Yeah.
my problem. She's taking a bath, and then the creatures attack, and she's screaming. But like before that, Underhill never checks her, never checks to see if she's okay. And when they open the door, I'm sorry, but you had to see them.
I thought the same thing. Every time the creatures are attacking, they're pretty loud.
Yeah.
So it's like, how are you not hearing them scream? But yeah, as soon as they open the door, the creatures scatter like rats.
Yeah.
And it's like, you didn't notice that?
Yeah, but that's not the worst one. I've got the worst one here. Mr. Harris gets injured downstairs, and he calls up, "I've been injured." It's clearly he's been attacked. He has a scissor in the back in his shoulder, rips it out, falls down, clearly attacked by something, and it's just like it's never questioned. What was the accident? It's never questioned.
I think he said I had an accident.
Yeah, but if
So he
you're
doesn't wanna
doing an
admit to the
investigation, they're gonna. It looks like you got cut up. It looks like something attacked you. What attacked you? You couldn't even say a creature. You couldn't say like a dog, a rabid dog, anything. What stabbed you in the shoulder with scissors?
I fell on the scissors.
Oh, please.
Well, he's the one trying to cover his own
I
ass
guess,
up. So
I
I guess. I mean, what are you going to say?
That's what you're gonna say.
There's no one else in the house except the old lady and the little girl.
Never mind the fact that after the fact, Alex is clearly going to be a suspect in Kim's disappearance because she's gone.
Oh, I thought
And-
that from the beginning.
yeah.
I was expecting him to be arrested, and that like the ending was like
Yeah.
her being shipped off somewhere else, and like, one of the creatures in her back.
Well, they're gonna find her blood downstairs because she was bleeding profusely, especially when they cracked her leg again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna find all the blood downstairs. So they're gonna realize that he shoved. They're gonna look into that. They
That
call it
hole.
ash pit. They're gonna
Yeah.
see that they're going to go down there and look for her.
Maybe every cop in that city just got killed one by one. They each got eaten.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hole at the end there. If they just ended it when they're hugging,
Mm-hmm.
and which I know you can't because it's kind of a lame ending, but like they just to get away, and you don't have them come back to the house and it's foreclosed. You don't have any of that.
Mhm.
I'm less annoyed with that.
Okay,
But because you have that where it's foreclosed and they're moving on, it's like you're not moving on.
but it's also you got to look at it. I look at this as a fairy tale.
Sure.
So when you look at it like that, you've got this creepy like that really nice shot of that paper getting brushed off with the leaves, and it goes to the door, and you get this kind of tour of the house, and it goes down. You get the creepy voiceover. So in that case, like it's not. This is like a once upon a time, modern day kind of story.
I got you.
That's what I take from that. But I thought the same thing. In real life, yes.
Yeah.
He would absolutely be arrested. She would be shipped off back home with the creatures in her backpack or something. Like the Gremlins theme song would be playing as the creature winked at the camera.
All right with that. So I didn't hate it, Butler, as you say. This is set, not to jump ship, but this is set in Providence because it's the home of H.P. Lovecraft, who wrote The Rats in the Walls, which was supposed to be an inspiration of this film. I don't know if it's supposed to be inspiration for the original film or this film.
Interesting. I couldn't find anything about that.
Now, you watched some of the one from the 73. Was it 73?
73, yeah.
Yeah, you watched some of that. What's what I know some of the differences. What were some of the differences?
So in the original 1973 film, the story is similar, but you don't have Sally's character is Kim. Kim is basically Sally is the wife of Alex, and they move back. Ex-wife of Alex, and they move back into her old family home, and her father made a deal with these demon things that now live in the home, and they want to kill Sally. So you don't have this little girl aspect of it. It's more the wife and husband kind of a.
The father made the deal to have his own daughter killed?
Not his own daughter, but a deal with demons, which is why they're in the house, and they want to kill Sally. Now that part I couldn't figure out because I didn't watch the whole film. I just watched clips. But it was pretty interesting the way they did it because they used a lot of practical effects, like the creatures were guys in suits, and
I saw that.
Those don't hold up at all.
Of course not.
But what I like is a lot of the sets are used. Obviously, you've got the actors on set, and then you have the set remade with. Like the bathroom cabinet is now huge, and the actors pop out as if it was like Land of the Giants.
Yeah.
I kind of appreciated that. Some of it was actually pretty well done with like giant light switches and the way the perspective was. They are human hands, but they look really tiny the way it's filmed. So I liked some of that, and you still get those creepy whispers, which were really well done in that 1973 one. So I can see how back then in 1973, so like a kid watching it would have been pretty freaked out by
right. Of course, on ABC. Yeah, sure enough. Yeah. I get that.
A little cheesy.
Well, now looking back, obviously, well, everything's like that. When you look back, it gets a little, just kind of, little. I don't know what that was. So is Guy Pearce wearing a wig in this movie?
I was gonna bring that up. His hair looks awful.
I mean, I think it's a wig. I don't think
it probably is.
And if it's a wig, why are you giving him a mullet? You gotta, that's okay. You gotta give him a wig because he's in something else. But why has he got a mullet on?
Maybe that's what they had in Australia.
Fire the hairstylist with that was.
I wonder if he had it shaved. When did Lockout come out?
Oh man, you're gonna make me look that up. Well, Lockout was 2012. So this is listed as the 2010 movie, but then it's released in 2011. So let's just say it was probably shot in 2010.
Right.
So if Lockout could have been shot either before that if it was Push 2. It could be something like that. That might be accurate. It might be he might have had his head shaved for another role or for something else. And is his head shaved in Lockout?
I think it is, sure, but he's also in The Road.
Yeah, he might have. It's fine. If you're gonna give him a wig, why give him a mullet? That's fine.
His hair looked off.
It wasn't great. It wasn't a good look. Just I couldn't stop looking at it. I liked Mr. Harris getting rough with Sally, grabbing. Oh, go down there! He's like yelling.
There's no basement. There's no basement.
Yeah,
don't swear.
Look. That's just bushes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They were never gonna find that glass dome.
Yeah.
And I was like, come on.
That is a sweet climbing tree.
The one in the front.
Yeah, I was like, I climb that. I'd sit in that tree constantly. That's like a big tree too. Nice branches. Yeah, that's a tree you climb. That's a tree you climb.
I like the koi pond too. It's a nice koi pond.
I've flown these in. Do you, when she was explaining the koi, I was just like, all right, enough.
I get it. You're proud of yourself.
Yeah.
Everything's sourced from the same place. Blackwood got it.
Yeah. What were they gonna sell that house for? Millions. Yeah. They shot on, it's called Drusilla Mansion, which is in Mount Macedon, if that's wrong, I apologize, and Melbourne in Australia, in Victoria. So it's a mansion. It wasn't like a home. It was a giant mansion they were flipping. Do you think they brought those doors in and all that stuff, all that artwork and all those carved?
Well, I think the front door was definitely fake that they brought in for that because it matches the foyer, which is definitely a set.
Okay,
it matches the wood pieces that you see.
So do you think that the mansion stuff was the outside stuff and then everything else inside is a set.
It's got to be the way the
Okay.
set. Everything in the set is such. I mean, I know there's really austere, like really ridiculous,
Yeah.
mansions, but everything in like the foyer, in the library, in the dining room seemed oversized a bit, just like slightly bigger than it should be.
And you never see anything connect. You know
Exactly,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's always separate rooms. So yeah, I you're probably right. But then I would assume that the outdoor stuff was definitely like driving up to it.
Oh, for sure, that
Yeah.
was the Australian mansion,
was
yeah.
was the mansion, or was it maybe was the guest house or something?
Well, as I was thinking, like if they filmed at a huge mansion, that house isn't that big in the inside. In terms
Maybe
of like, how
they
many
digitally
rooms.
wiped away
some of the big
some of the
outside.
stuff outside. Yeah, but they used the backyard stuff, and yeah, that makes more sense now that we talk about it. Nice job, Butler. So why do you think? I mean, I know why I think it's forgotten, but why do you think it's forgotten? You put it on the list because it clearly you thought it fit some criteria.
I thought it's a really creepy story. I think obviously it plays to the fear of the dark, which everybody's afraid of the dark. In a really
But this movie
interesting
tells you
way.
not to be afraid of it.
Exactly. That's why I put in my Instagram story
I saw
last night. You should probably. Be afraid of
Well, not last night, 10 weeks ago.
the dark. But I thought it was really well done. I think the creatures are neat. It's a creepy, spooky story in the way that we used to see in the 70s and 80s. Those little creatures and their whispers, and it's not just a ghost story or a serial killer story. It's something interesting. It's something different. Your monster is not huge. Yes, I would have liked if they were animatronic, but they're still these little creatures, and it's not that they're strong or powerful. It's that they're creepy, and that's their power is their creep factor kind of,
Right.
and they're being an asshole. They're collectively are assholes. And I love the look of it. It doesn't look like your typical horror film. I think it's beautifully shot, beautifully lit. The sets are really nice. Like it's this really gorgeous, scary film, and this haunting fairy tale, which Crimson Peak kind of is. But I never really liked Crimson Peak as much as I enjoyed watching Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Like Crimson Peak was like I watched it and forgot it,
Mhm.
but I do like the way Del Toro films these things as these dark fairy tales, and Hellboy 2 is a lot like that as well. So that's what I really remember about this, but I think that's also why a lot of people don't like this movie. I think making it rated R hurt it, like we said before. But I also think that even if you made a PG-13, teenagers are going to watch this and go, "This isn't Conjuring."
Was Conjuring before this?
Yeah, it was still around the time of Conjuring, Paranormal Activity. Those
Well, it's
kind
not
of
a
ones.
Blumhouse film.
It's not
yeah.
a jump house scare.
Yeah. Well, it is.
Date
It's full
night
of jump
movie.
scares, though.
Really?
Yeah.
See, none of them ever get me in this movie.
Well, it is.
I mean, I
it's
guess
got
there are
jump
some
scares.
stuff, yeah, but it's not quite like the way Paranormal Activity has their jump scares. or
True.
The Conjuring.
Well, when she's under the sheet.
The sheet is the sheet's
Yeah.
a big one.
Yeah.
And I love that shot. I also love when she squishes the creature at the end with the flashlight.
Which it's like you only can. So basically, I don't know if they even did. You kill the one that lost the arm? So she's killed
He might
two.
not have died,
Okay, so
but she definitely killed.
She
the old
only
guy.
killed one. Is that supposed to be Blackwood?
I think he's definitely the main one. He's whatever Katie Holmes. That's what I.
Why is their newest one always the leader?
Because it's the one with the real soul, maybe.
Maybe I don't know. All right, that's
Again, this is all of that is based on actually, even though this is based on a 1973, the TV movie.
Yeah.
Guillermo Del Toro, and I'm sure you read it in your notes. He based a lot of the fairy elements and stuff on the work of Arthur. I'm gonna mispronounce his name. Machen.
Well, who's
a Welsh
He's
author.
an influence in a lot of his stuff.
Right. All his lore comes from like a dark place. So like his fairies and his tooth fairies and his gremlins, goblins, angels, and stuff. They all have a dark side to all of them.
Sure, like Grim Fairy Tales.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of works with the whole soul aspect and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that doesn't really maybe resonate with younger audiences who are your draw for horror movies like this.
Mhm.
I just don't think it's what people are looking for in their scary movies nowadays.
I think if it wasn't R and it was more, I think it's more for a young adult crowd. That kind of scary stories in the dark, which that did well.
No. Well, it did well enough to get a sequel, but
True.
I was really surprised it didn't do better than it did when we released it.
Well, we're in a new world where now you're gonna start having more promoted and hyped up VOD releases and digital releases. This would be a movie that would be for that. If you made it now, this would be a movie that you'd catch it at home in the comfort of your own home. You could really hype it up.
I know we always say this.
Okay.
This would make a really good.
You always said this.
I do always say this would make a really good 4-part
I don't think it's.
Series?
I don't want it to be a series. No.
I want it to be a limited. I
No.
think I don't know.
A movie?
Do you-
Yes.
I mean, you want to go into like maybe what Kim was about. You could really kind of dissect the characters because in the heart of the film, there's an actual story. There's an actual character driven narrative that they don't really explore too much. That could be further explored about the relationship between a
guess.
stepmother and a stepdaughter.
I think.
And shared trauma.
I think the interaction or the mystery around the fairies needs to improve. I think a lot of stuff needs to improve if you want to do like a limited series. Like a 4 episodes, okay, but not 6 or 8.
No, I'm
Give me
talking
4-hour episodes, sure. Okay, 4 hours
Yeah.
of okay, but then you're gonna need to beef up. I want to see the mother. You're gonna need to beef up the actors. You're gonna need to be. You know what? I'd want another kid in there, not just a single kid. You know what I mean? Or maybe Kim has an older son, and maybe it's not just about getting Kim's acceptance, but the son, like stuff like that. Like you're gonna want to add another younger adult element to that. Maybe a teenager in there, somebody who it's not just her alone, who's the only one seeing it. Like
Right.
she has to have an ally of sorts. Excuse me. It's not Mr. Harris. It's Mrs. Underhill's. She's oblivious. Oh, trying to protect her.
Well, I think it becomes
That's
Kim
all.
pretty
I think-
much halfway through.
I
the
think you
film,
need more
so-
characters. That's all I think.
All right.
That's all. And the father with his new girlfriend, I think the girlfriend should be age appropriate. Just it's
That's not that big of an age difference.
no, but I'm saying that somebody who is not like if you're gonna let's put it this way, if you're gonna add an older son or an older daughter, a teenage daughter to the
Mhm.
mix, and the mother should be older.
Oh, okay. I see.
That's
you're
what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. I think
So
it
if you had a teenage son, you can't have it KPK.
right, and but then you have two people that it's really tough to kind of like what I'm thinking. I keep thinking of Poltergeist, so I keep thinking of Joe Beth Williams and Craig T. Nelson. Like I keep
Yeah.
thinking like that kind of parent, like
Yeah.
those parents who the mother is more attuned to believe, but it takes the father a little bit longer. That kind of thing.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That being said, Poltergeist is awesome. But yeah. But I don't want to go down that road. 'cause
So
it's really good.
you said that you don't not like this movie, but
Right.
you also haven't told me anything that you like about this movie.
Why, what are you talking about? I said stuff I liked, right?
What you say you liked?
Well, I agree with you. The sets are nice. I enjoy the sets. I don't mind. I like Guy Pearce. I like that Guy Pearce I like the father isn't a father figure who is so obtuse to his daughter. He cares about his daughter. He's not, there's moments where he's trying to focus on his career, but he's not.
He's not your stereotypical
a deadbeat dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the horror
He's-
archetype where it's like,
right.
well, he's not making it.
He's not
Yeah.
saddled with his daughter. Like the mother is somebody who he's trying to protect the daughter from. Clearly he knows why the mother's getting rid of her kind of thing.
Right.
I don't mind Kim's character. I don't, like I said, I think that there's probably some stuff that I would have, wanted more of in terms of her character development. The little nitpicky stuff we're talking about, the Polaroid, that's fine. Movies have that. I get that. I wasn't a big deal when she has infinite flash bulbs. I was just laughing. I was like, oh, here we go. That's fine. The fact that it's only 99 minutes helps. And I understand what you're saying. It's a nice little short ghost story, scary story. I wasn't. It didn't bother me too much. I just had a lot of. My big thing is just the character development and the story. I just think it needed more. That's all. I wasn't anything. Oh, it's so awful. I wanted more. I think there was stuff that was missing, and to make a difference between a movie that is something that's like, oh my god, this is really good, to a movie that's like, it's okay, that's not bad. It's not. I've seen worse. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I like the same stuff you like. You like more. You're more attuned to a movie's atmosphere over story, and I'm more attuned to the story over an atmosphere. I appreciate the atmosphere that you like about this.
I can
And-
forgive story if you have atmosphere and if you have theme. If you have, like I've said before, if you don't have a theme, you don't
Yeah.
have a movie.
I can't forgive story
So
that way.
if it doesn't have a theme, I can't forgive a story. But
Mm.
if a story's okay, but it's got a solid theme and the atmosphere is great, like this one had, like the themes are present.
Sure,
I like it.
I can see. Here's the thing. I can. You're using that scale to judge your based on how much you like the movie.
Right.
I'm saying that I can like aspects, the same aspects you like in this movie. That doesn't make me say, but that means that I like this movie. Like it just means that I enjoy. So some of this stuff in this movie I enjoy,
right.
but the script is something that that it all needs to work for me in order
Right.
for me to say like I like that. I'm jaded. I need more. That's fine. but I'm a story guy, and when I'm watching something, and I say this all the time, and if something's off or it kind of bugs me, it pulls me out. And when something pulls me out of the movie, then I start seeing the other things that bother me.
I got you.
But that being said, like I love scripts that know what kind of movies they are, like Shoot 'Em Up, like the movie with Clive
Right.
Owen.
Yeah.
I know what that movie is right off the bat, and I'm in. I buy in, and that's fine. And there's the more ridiculous it gets. I get that those are specific type of movies.
Right.
That's all.
We'll see how that works next week.
I've seen Evil Dead.
I know.
So next week we'll be finishing up our second annual Forgotten Horror, where we'll be doing Evil Dead, the 2013 remake of Evil Dead.
Right.
Yeah. So
Because Evil Dead is not forgotten.
no, not at all. It's awesome.
Although I would love to do a whole series.
Well, you
The
mean like,
Evil Dead podcast. It's 85 episodes.
good luck with it. Really?
No, just
Well, good luck with that. All right, so that's it. Thanks for listening today, and whenever you're listening to this, join us next week for Evil Dead, the 2013 version, and then we'll wrap up Forgotten Horror, and then we'll move on to November. That was my little.
But it's like August, man. It's hot outside.
Well, it's August now. We're really far ahead. I know we keep saying that, and we should probably stop saying that. We're really,
Hold on, let me
yeah.
pat myself on the back.
Nice. You hear that? There, just do. Nice. All right. So again, I'm Mike Field,
I'm Mike Butler.
and this has been Forgotten.
Stay spooky, y'all. I know you love it.
It's
You
stupid.
love it. You
It's
love
no,
it.
I don't love it. It's so dumb. Save it for your other podcast.